Good afternoon and welcome to today's CCAC quarterfinal soccer match between University of St. Francis Fighting Saints and the St. Xavier University Cougars. It is a hazy gray November Saturday afternoon, but the skies are bright for St. Francis playing in their first conference tournament game in 6 years. Very exciting day for the program, and they'll take on a team that they've already beaten once this year, the 5th-seeded St. Xavier Cougars. Saints come in as the number 4 seed in the conference. Terry Bonadonna with you here on the call for this afternoon's contest. The Saints wearing white and brown and going from left to right on your screen. They are shooting in this first half into the south goal. The Cougars are in red and white. They are on the right side of your screen right now, shooting to the left into the north goal. And we are underway as St. Xavier takes the opening kick and has it immediately knocked out of bounds by St. Francis. I'll run through the starting lineups in just a moment. St. Xavier takes possession. Michael Gutierrez to throw it in. Gutierrez, one of 3 defenders listed among the starters for St. Xavier today, off to the right side. This is Ricardo Aldape passing to the left, and David Robillard. Middle of the field. Cougars continue to try to work it forward. Danny Lopez cuts it back towards the middle. This is Elliot Kettle. Mohamed Rashid jumps in on him and takes it away, rolling that ball forward to Joshua Yemen. Yemen tries to get it downfield, but can't find Raul Roman. It finds the goalie for St. Xavier, Frank Valley. Valley, the goalkeeper, the reigning CCAC goalie of the year from 2016. He is starting for the 18th time this year. In fact, he's the only goalie who has started any game this year for St. Xavier. He's allowed 1.2 goals per contest, 85 saves from the senior. He's got a record of 10-7 with 6 shutouts this year. He is joined in the starting lineup by Michael Gutierrez, Orlando Tapia, Elias Leyva, Uriel Landa, David Robillard, Ricardo Aldape, Elliot Kettle, Matt Guybe, Danny Lopez, and Caden Patton. Run through the starters for the home team in just a moment. This is Leon Laskowski rolling it ahead to Raul Roman. Roman chips it downfield for Nlovu. Calvin Nlovu nearly had a good shot, but he has it knocked away from him. Well defended by St. Xavier right there. And Michael Gutierrez jumping in the way of Nlovu. Let's see who Nlovu is joined by in the starting lineup as Saints set up a corner kick here. Mason Messina, Leon Laskowski, you already heard Calvin Nlovu, Mohamed Rashid, Stephen Campbell, Joshua Yemen, Roberto Santillan, Raul Roman, Christian Batangelo, Brian Castillo, and the goalkeeper, I'll give you his numbers in just a moment, Carlos Ferrer Cotto. Here's the corner kick. It's headed up in the air by St. Xavier, and by the time Calvin Nlovu reaches it, it's already out of harm's way, so the Saints unable to capitalize on their corner kick as that ball is rolled all the way back to the keeper. Carlos Ferrer Cotto, the freshman from Spain, starting for the 17th time out of 18 games this year. He has started every conference match this season. 60 saves for the freshman. He's allowed less than a goal per game. His goals against average is 0.82. His record, 8-6-2, and he's got 3 shutouts this year. Throw in for the Saints, and it goes into Yemen. Yemen coming off of a 2-goal performance in the regular season finale. Here's Stephen Campbell. Campbell along the sideline, covered tightly by Uriel Landa, and Landa knocks it out of bounds. Campbell tosses it in. Landa jumps in the way again and clears it. Nice work all around right there by the junior Uriel Landa. Just about 3 minutes gone in the game. It's a 90-minute contest, as always, 2 45-minute halves, and if we're not decided by then, we've got overtime. Unlike the regular season, of course, this game cannot end in a tie. In the CCAC playoffs, if need be, and we're a long way off into the future now, we're not going to plan on this, but if need be, there would be a shootout. Here's Mohamed Rashid on the throw-in. He's going to give it up to Stephen Campbell instead. Campbell and Rashid, 2 of the longer tenured members of this team, a couple of seniors, both active since the previous regime. Dan Cross now in his 2nd season as head coach of the Fighting Saints, and what a job he has done. Turning this thing around from last year to this. Calvin Nlovu's pass towards the center is knocked out of bounds by Michael Gutierrez. More good defense from the sophomore defender Gutierrez, but it sets up the 2nd corner kick of the night for St. Francis. They weren't able to capitalize on their last one. We'll see if Leon Laskowski can put this ball onto a teammate in. break up this early shutout. Just under 41 minutes to play in the first half. Here's the kick from Laskowski. Towards the front post and cleared by Landau. Gutierrez trying to clear it all the way downfield, but he gets it off the side of his foot and knocks it out of bounds. Saints, a year ago, finished the year 1-15. They were winless in conference play. Big difference this year as they have the 4 seed in the tournament. Mohamed Rashid takes a shot from just outside the box. It sails high, but it was tipped out by a Cougar, so we're going to get another corner kick here. This is the 3rd corner kick for the Saints in just the first 5 minutes of the game. So they have certainly taken the action to the St. Xavier defense in the early going. So far, nothing to show for it, but they'll try to keep this pressure on. Laskowski sets it up again. He plays it short this time to Kelvin and Lovu. And Lovu going up against Gutierrez. There's the cross towards the back post, off the head of a Cougar defender. That was Caden Patton, rolling off towards the sideline. Still in St. Xavier territory, but they clear it as that ball goes into the box and is knocked away. So now St. Xavier will try to counter. Danny Lopez sends it to the left side and rolled forward for Ricardo Eldape. Eldape has the ball knocked away from him by Christian Batangelo. One of many newcomers on the roster. I mentioned a couple of guys who are holdovers over the last few years, but vast majority of the starting lineup for St. Francis. Brand new, if not this year, than last year since Dan Cross took over. Cross took over a team that had gone winless in conference in 2015. They went winless in conference play in his first season as well. St. Francis trying to get it out of the defensive zone. St. Xavier keeps the pressure on. This is Elliot Kettle. Kettle loses it off to Elias Leyva. Rolled ahead for Eldape, and Eldape has no help towards the middle. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto clears it off the pass from Brian Castillo. After going winless in conference play back-to-back seasons, Saints this year won 7 of their 11 conference games. They went 7-3-1, earning the 4 seed in the conference tournament, and not only qualifying for their first conference tournament in 6 years, but getting a home game. Very impressive season for the Fighting Saints. They would just as soon not see it end today. But one of these teams will be going home, presumably for the final time of 2017 after this. Here's Mason Messina for the Saints, 38 minutes to play in the first half. Castillo intercepted by Gutierrez, and Gutierrez can't clear it with Joshua Yemen staying on the attack, and now the Cougars do get rid of it. This is Orlando Tapia. Off to the near sideline, Danny Lopez. Lopez, the reigning CCAC Offensive Player of the Week. Frank Valley, who kicks this ball away from the goalkeeper's box, is the reigning CCAC Defensive Player of the Week. So the Saints finished a higher seed than the Cougars this year, but it is St. Xavier who has been red hot of late, setting up a very good first-round matchup. Here's Leyva, getting around Messina. Now Eldape into the box and knocked away by Batangelo. That ball goes out in the corner, and it does drop out the back line rather than the sideline, so it's going to be a corner kick for St. Xavier. Saints have had 3 of them already. This will be the first for the Cougars. And they'll get perhaps their first scoring threat against the Fighting Saints today. They'll play it in short to Leyva. Leyva against several defenders, rolls it all the way to the back line. Now across, a header towards the net and wide. I think that was Eldape on the back end of that pass trying to head it in, but wide to the left side. And the Saints dodge a bullet. First shot of the game from St. Xavier, and it does go outside the perimeter for Carlos Ferrer-Cotto, who's able to watch it go out and now set up for a goal kick. Good early action between these two CCAC opponents. Saints, as I mentioned, playing their first conference tournament game since 2011. St. Xavier, on the other hand, was in the CCAC championship game as recently as 2 years ago. So as far as postseason experience goes, certainly a big advantage there to St. Xavier, but Saints have been the better team in 2017, which you figure would count for more in a game like this. Here's Danny Lopez tapping it back to Elliot Kettle, and now Gutierrez deflects it off of Stephen Campbell and out of bounds. Cougars will remain on the attack. Kettle back to Landa. Uriel Landa unpressured from the defensive line. Kicks it forward where it's headed back by Christian Batangelo. Here's Batangelo on defense for the Saints. Trying to boot it down the sideline. Ricardo Aldape will jump in front of that ball and knock it out of bounds. The Saints get a throw in with 35.5 minutes to go in the half. Rashid to Messina, and now Stephen Campbell chips it down the sideline off the head of Joshua Yemen and out of bounds. Yemen, with his 2 goals in the season finale, finished the regular campaign with 9 of them. Just 1 behind the team leader, Mohamed Rashid. Rashid a senior, Yemen a freshman. They've been the 2 most prolific scorers this year. This is Yemen passing off to his left, and Roberto Santillan getting just his 3rd start of the year today. Rashid along the near side. Taps to Messina. Right side, Kelvin and Lovu. And Lovu trying to work around Michael Gutierrez. There's the cross deflected out of bounds. And we've got another corner kick upcoming. The 4th already in the game for St. Francis. Leon Laskowski, sophomore forward who has spent a lot of time playing defense, comes up from the defensive side to take this corner kick once again. It's headed away by St. Xavier. Right back to Mason Messina, though. They'll try to keep the pressure on. Messina pushes to the outside, back into the corner for Laskowski, but as Laskowski was standing in the corner, he's called for offsides, and the Cougars will get a free kick here. Second meeting this season between these 2 teams, and the circumstances are very different. From a month and a half ago, they met up on September 23rd, a 2-1 St. Francis victory. That day was about 90 degrees and sunny here in Joliet. Today it's about 40 degrees and rainy. So the superficial circumstances are certainly different as Batangelo jumps in the passing lane and takes it away. Nice defense by St. Francis. Gutierrez takes it right back for the Cougars, but Gutierrez gets in the way right there as the pass was going for Danny Lopez. He was shielded from the ball by the streaking Gutierrez, and the ball rolls out of bounds. At that time, back in late September, Saints were the struggling team as they had won their previous conference game for the first time in 3 years. They were trying for back-to-back conference victories, and they were trying to beat St. Xavier for the first time in a long time. Now today, it is the Saints who come in as the favorite, and the Cougars as the underdog, despite the fact that St. Xavier has won their last 4 games. Christian Batangelo watches that ball go out the sideline. Throw-in coming up for the Fighting Saints. Headed off to the right side by Robillard. Here's Lopez to Aldape. Aldape going up against Miguel Espinoza. And the Saints are able to take it away. Espinoza came in just a moment ago for Roberto Santillan. So just about 12 minutes into the action before Dan Cross makes his first substitution of the game. Here's Stephen Campbell on the takeaway. Messina off to Laskowski on the far sideline. Right at midfield, Laskowski pushes it ahead to Raul Roman. And Roman's pass is deflected out of bounds by the team in red. St. Francis has the throw. Yemen, the freshman from England, off to Laskowski, the sophomore from Germany. And now all the way back to the defensive line, Batangelo, freshman from Congo. St. Xavier on the move. This is Robillard running into Batangelo, and the ball knocked out of bounds and into the bleachers. Batangelo is down on his knees, but he'll force himself up. Seems to be all right. Still a slight delay while Stephen Campbell ties his shoe. Free kick here for the Fighting Saints. Batangelo a little bit shaken up, but he's fine. Walking around along midfield right now. Cougars clear it, but nobody on offense for St. Xavier. So that ball will roll all the way back to Carlos Ferrer-Cotto, who plays it off his chest, standing right at the edge of the box. Didn't want to risk picking it up. He taps it out and kicks it downfield to Mohamed Rashid. Rashid has it taken away from him by Caden Patton. And now it'll find its way back to Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. Freshman goalkeeper, potential all-conference player this year. As I said at the start of the broadcast, Frank Valley was the first-team all-conference goalkeeper last season as a junior for St. Xavier, and he has certainly been challenged as the conference's best by the St. Francis freshmen, although Valley does have a few advantages over Carlos Ferrer-Cotto this year. He has 6 shutouts compared to Ferrer-Cotto's 3. He's also made a significantly greater number of saves than the St. Francis freshman has, but you can't blame Carlos Ferrer-Cotto for having as good a defense as he's had, that he's only had to make 60 saves through 16 games. Out of bounds along the near sideline from the defensive side. It's a throw in for St. Xavier. 29.5 minutes to play, first half. This is Elliot Kettle. Big kick downfield from Orlando Tapia and headed back by Christian Batangelo. Robolar into the center for Aldape. Aldape taps it once, shoots with the left foot, deflected, and up the sideline. St. Xavier gets the throw in. Tossed into Aldape and intercepted by Stephen Campbell down to Kelvin Nlovu. Nlovu trying to keep that ball in bounds, and he is able to do it. Nice ball control by Kelvin Nlovu, who finds his goalkeeper Carlos Ferrer-Cotto, who clears it. Both teams have had some early chances, but neither side able to score yet. Neither team has put a shot on goal. Down along the sideline, that ball will go out of bounds to throw in for St. Francis. I don't think either side has shown a clear advantage to this point. It's really been very evenly matched. Laskowski threw it in, got it right back, and he'll go all the way back from beyond midfield to his keeper. And Carlos Ferrer-Cotto reverses field to Stephen Campbell. Campbell is tripped up by David Robilar. And the Saints will get a free kick here. One of 4 conference tournament games being played today. Judson and Roosevelt, the 6-3 game, started earlier this afternoon. Calumet St. Joseph and Olivet Nazarene. The 7-2 game is likely going on right now, scheduled for a 1:30 start time. There's a whistle against St. Francis this time, and we'll go the other way. Later tonight, St. Ambrose at Cardinal Stritch. Cardinal Stritch, the number 1 seed. St. Ambrose, the 8 seed. And the winner of that game will take on the winner of this game. That'll be on Wednesday. Conference tournament continues, and the Saints certainly hope that it's still them alive and playing soccer at that point. But it's St. Xavier right now on the attack. Aldape chips it towards the middle of the field and knocked away by St. Francis. Good work by Mohamed Rashid to get around a couple of defenders. Could not get it through to Yemen or Roman on the upside. And it's cleared by St. Xavier. Leon Laskowski jumping in the air for that ball. Laskowski heads it towards the sideline. It will roll out of bounds for a St. Xavier throw-in. 26-28 on the clock right now and ticking. Still a long way to go in the first half. No score yet. There's a cross to Robolar. Heads it into the box. Chased down by Lopez, and he can't catch up. Out of bounds for a goal kick. 3 shots in the early going for St. Xavier. St. Francis has taken 1. Fighting Saints have taken 4 corner kicks today. That's as close as they've come to developing any real advantage in this game. 3 of those corner kicks came in the first 5 minutes of the game. But it's St. Xavier controlling the possession over the last 10 minutes or so. trying to do so right now as Tapia battles with Raul Roman for that ball, and Tapia wins the fight, letting that ball roll out of bounds for a goal kick. St. Xavier 10-7 overall this year, 7-4 in conference. St. Francis 7-3-1 in conference, so they finished exactly 1 point ahead of St. Xavier, showing just how big that win over the Cougars was back on September 23rd. Overall this year, St. Francis 9-6-2, trying to win 10 games for the first time since 2011, when they finished 10-6-2. They've already guaranteed a winning season as Mason Messina heads it off to the left side in Roman. Now Laskowski in from the back line and knocked away by Caden Patton. This year, just the second time St. Francis has amassed a winning record over a full season over the last 15 years, with 2011, of course, being the other. Ball loose at midfield and won by Elliott Kettle, but he gives it right up to the St. Francis defense. Campbell ahead to Yemen. Back to Campbell and over to the left side. Miguel Espinoza, his ball towards the box, is knocked away and cleared by David Robillard. Carlos Ferracoto's been involved in the early going pretty frequently here, but he has not yet made a save. He's been standing up high in the box and just letting the ball roll back to him. It's happened a number of times. Whistle blows as Calvin Lowe gives that ball a chase and can't reach it before foul's called against Fighting Saints. The officials in today's game: Nick Ramos, Eduardo Zavala, Bruce Bodie. Cayetano Silva is the fourth official in this one. St. Xavier on the attack, they can't get anywhere on it as the Saints are able to clear. Here's Mason Messina ahead to Nlovu. Calvin Nlovu in a foot race with Michael Gutierrez, and neither of them win as the ball goes out of bounds. That ball sent in deep, and Carlos Ferracoto steps out and heads it out of the way. And he is knocked over on the play by St. Xavier. Caden Patton, the one who made the contact, and free kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. Carlos Ferracoto was out of the box there. Couldn't pick the ball up, but he came in and lunged at it with his head to knock it away. Caden Patton ran into him, and Carlos Ferracoto hit the ground. You're going to get called for a lot of fouls if you end up making the goalkeeper fall. It's just the way it tends to go. 22.5 minutes to play in the first half. Ball is set for the free kick, and it's sent away. Deep down the far side. It is controlled by Mohamed Rashid, who turns and rolls it forward for Nlovu, but it's intercepted. Back on the defensive side, Leon Laskowski keeps that ball in bounds. Sends it back towards the keeper, but out of bounds. He sent it back to Cotto a little bit too hard. He gave it a good chase, trying to keep that ball in bounds to prevent the corner kick, but it does roll out the back line. And St. Xavier has been gifted a corner kick here. See if they can do anything with it. Set up by Danny Lopez. He taps it, gets it right back. Sends it towards the back post, and nobody there wearing red. Carlos Ferracoto just watches it sail out of bounds. So the mistake made by St. Francis that gave St. Xavier a corner kick does not lead to anything, and Carlos Ferracoto has a goal kick. Still no score. Last time these two teams met, St. Xavier took a 1-goal lead into halftime. St. Francis ended up coming from behind to win 2-1. Laskowski ahead to Nlovu, tried to give it right back to Leon, but it's intercepted. This is Kettle. Poked away by Messina, a good kick downfield by Messina to get it away from the St. Xavier midfield. but a little bit too strong to reach the St. Francis forwards. And it'll be scooped up in the box by Frank Valley, V-A-L-L-E, from McHenry, Illinois. He goes by Frank, predictably, rather than Frankie. I don't know how he is as a singer. Here's Messina down to Yemen. Yemen was able to stay on sides there. Can he keep it in bounds? He can. There's the cross looking for Rashid, but it's poked away. Well defended by the Cougars. Here's Aldape wrestling with Batangelo. And Aldape wins the fight, holding on a possession. Works his way around Espinoza. Kicks it ahead for Danny Lopez. Stephen Campbell trying to take that ball away, and he does slide in front of Elias Leyva and knock that ball out of bounds. Good play by Stephen Campbell. Substitution for St. Xavier here as Mike McLaughlin comes in for Caden Patton. McLaughlin started 8 of the team's 17 games this year. In off the bench today and trying to cross the ball right now, but it's knocked away from him and out of bounds, but it does set up a corner kick. Third corner kick for St. Xavier today. Their last one just a couple of minutes ago on the opposite end. Turned it into a shot, but no goal. Orlando Tapia puts this one in front of the net, and it's headed away off to the side. Still in play as Mike McLaughlin retrieves that ball down in the corner. Christian Batangelo on the defense. McLaughlin is finally able to force the ball outside a little bit, and Leon Leskowski jumps into the passing lane and takes possession away. Good work by Christian Batangelo, not allowing a clean look for St. Xavier. And now the Saints will get a throw in with 18.5 minutes to play before halftime. Leskowski tosses it in to Rashid. Right back to Leon Leskowski, working against Danny Lopez, and Lopez takes it away. Good challenge by Danny Lopez. This is Leyva towards the middle of the field, and Kettle. Gutierrez back ahead for Leyva, goes between his legs, but McLaughlin waiting on the other end of it. Spins his way around Batangelo, the ball into the box and scooped up by Carlos Ferracota, but there's a whistle. As a St. Xavier player hit the deck, I do believe he was outside of the box. But a big play in the game right there as the Cougars were on probably their most organized attack of the game. And the ball is set up exactly 1 yard outside the box, dead center. It's going to be a tough challenge for St. Francis here. St. Xavier gets a chance to break the tie. Just over 17 minutes to play in the half. Aldape takes the shot, and a diving save by Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. He went to the far post. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto was ready for him, and now Mohamed Rashid trying to work quickly on the counterattack. Rashid pulls up, waits for some help, and now taps it off to Raul Roman. Right back to Rashid, and too far out in front of him, out of bounds for a goal kick. Saints are not able to do anything with the counterattack, but just the stop moments ago on that free kick, enough to grab a little bit of momentum, and a huge play, the biggest so far in the game. Ricardo Aldape, who has just one goal this year, was the man to take the kick. He put it on the ground, and that allowed Carlos Ferrer-Cotto to make the diving save. Danny Lopez lets that ball go out of bounds. But a whistle prior to that. St. Xavier is going to get the free kick here from just shy of midfield, along the near side, taken by Uriel Landa. Still scoreless. That save for Carlos Ferrer-Cotto moments ago was his first of the game. It was the first shot on goal for either team. St. Xavier trying to come up with another here as McLaughlin gives it up to Mohamed Rashid. Here's Mason Messina going the other way to Leon Laskowski along the far sideline. Laskowski working quickly into the center for Yemen. Yemen turns around and loses possession. Cleared by Landa. Brian Castillo ahead to Messina. Good run for Rashid. Mohamed Rashid going into the box, taps it to the outside, and Kelvin Lovu, and it's cleared. Solid defense from the Cougars. Here's Leva losing the ball to his fellow number 7, Leon Laskowski. Rashid again on the attack. Mohamed Rashid against a couple of defenders, works it back towards the center, finds Laskowski. Leon Laskowski shoots, it's high and out of bounds. An aggressive shot there from Leon Laskowski. He was about a little over 20 yards out. Thought he had a fairly open look, and St. Francis has not had many of those today. Open shots have been hard to come by. So they decided, or Laskowski decided, it was worth taking the shot from there. In stride, just missed it a little bit high. Miguel Duran is in for St. Francis. Raul Roman takes the seat with 14.5 minutes to go before halftime. Kelvin Lovu heads the ball downfield where it's picked off by St. Xavier. Stephen Campbell on defense. Campbell works it ahead. Downfield for Lovu. Jumping in there is Matt Guybe. Good challenge from Rashid. He takes it away to Yemen. Yemen in a sea of 3 St. Xavier players, not able to get through. It's David Robolar losing that ball out of bounds. Apparently was knocked out by Miguel Duran or Stephen Campbell. One of the two got it. St. Xavier gets to throw in here as the sophomore Michael Gutierrez comes up to throw it in from midfield. Ball bounces towards the right foot of Christian Batangelo, pops it high into the air. Orlando Tapia for St. Xavier picks up that ball and passes it off to the left. Kettle to Guybe, and now ahead to Lopez once more. St. Xavier trying to maintain possession here. Got an attack going. They have not been aggressively moving forward, and now as they do start to move forward, they lose the ball. St. Francis takes it away. Laskowski down to Nlovu. Now here comes Espinoza. Espinoza has it knocked away from him. St. Xavier touched it last. Yemen hits it behind him. Knocked away by Uriel Landa. Campbell to Messina. Stephen Campbell wanted a foul, and there's that delayed whistle as Mike McLaughlin gave him a good shove. Campbell will get the free kick. Take his time and now send it downfield for Yemen. Yemen going up against Gutierrez. Centers it to Mohamed Rashid. Rashid trying to work his way towards the middle of the field. Too many defenders there. He passes to the outside, and Laskowski. Leon Laskowski now looking for that cross. He'll take the shot instead, poked away by Valley. Along the back line, it'll roll out the side for a St. Francis throw. Nice work by Frank Valley. But the Saints still on the attack. They've got the throw in from down near the corner in St. Xavier territory. This is Mohamed Rashid splitting the defense and finding Campbell. Good pass. The shot, though, well wide from Miguel Duran and out of bounds. Duran, the senior from Plainfield, not happy with himself after that one. He got a good feed and just got a little bit out in front of it. Didn't turn his body towards the goal to take that shot, and well outside to the right. No problem for St. Xavier. We remain scoreless for at least a little bit longer. 11 minutes to play before halftime. This is El Dape into the center of the field. Intercepted by Mason Messina. Messina rolls it off for Yemen, and now Mohamed Rashid at midfield. Rashid tapped ahead for Yemen, right back to Messina, near side. Messina working his way down the pitch and off to the right. Miguel Duran can't get to that ball down in the corner. It's out of bounds. Nice idea. The pass just a little bit too far out in front of Duran, and Michael Gutierrez gets to re-enter the ball. St. Xavier taking their time from the defense. Uriel Landa gives the ball up, gets it right back. Across midfield. Mike McLaughlin against Christian Batangelo. McLaughlin wins the fight. Off to the left, he had Robillard chasing that ball, but he can't get to it before Carlos Ferrer-Cotto can. The Saints goalie makes the stop. 10 minutes to play. First half, no score. Not a lot of shots, two sides even. 4 shots, one of them on goal. Identical numbers for both teams. In fact, most of the stats in this first half are identical. Their play has been nearly, if not identical, and nearly even. Both teams playing well on a cold and wet day. It's not raining. It stopped raining a little while before the game began, so it's dry in terms of precipitation, but the ground's still very wet, which makes things a little bit more sloppy, even on artificial turf. Sent into the box, Miguel Duran waiting on the back of that ball, but it's knocked away by St. Xavier, well defended. St. Francis takes it right back, Stephen Campbell to Mason Messina. Here comes Messina, rolling to the outside, Miguel Duran, looking for the cross. There it is. Nearly finds Yemen, but it's knocked backwards to Rashid instead. Mohamed Rashid, nice work around a couple of defenders, takes a shot and it's wide to the right. Tough shot for Mohamed Rashid. Bombarded by defenders the entire way, he freed himself up. For a little bit, it didn't look like he was going to have any chance to get a shot off, period. Not only did he get the shot off, didn't miss by that much. A couple of subs coming on. Anthony Scripp for Kelvin and Lovu for St. Francis, and Alex Noyola is coming in for St. Xavier. Elias Leyva will get a short rest. Headed by Aldape into the box, and Carlos Ferrer-Cotto grabs that ball off the ground. 8 minutes to play, first half, scoreless. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto giving his teammates a chance to make their way downfield, and now he gets the punt off. Christian Batangelo over to Stephen Campbell along the right sideline. Campbell gives it a kick towards Duran, but it's intercepted by Michael Gutierrez instead. Here's Ricardo Aldape harassed by Mason Messina, but he holds on to possession. And now work downfield to David Robillard, but Campbell does a nice job defensively tackling the ball away from Robillard. Now Campbell on a big run down on the far side. Rolled off for Anthony Scripp. First touch of the game for Scripp. His pass intercepted by Uriel Landa, who heads it out of harm's way. This is Scripp. Back on the defensive line for Batangelo. And Miguel Espinoza lets that ball roll through his legs and nearly out of bounds. The whistle blows, it is out of bounds, so it's a throw in for St. Xavier. Espinoza just took his eye off it for a second, long enough for the ball to scoot past him, and just a hair late in trying to get that ball back to the goalie. Instead, it's the St. Xavier throw. And now the Cougars will make a substitution as well. Maximilian Fabi is coming in. Fabi started 10 games this year, coming in as a reserve in this one as David Robillard heads to the bench. Gutierrez ready to throw it back in now. Bounces once, and Brian Castillo taps it out. Another throw in here for St. Xavier. As we get late into the first half, each team looking for a late goal. Take a little good feeling into halftime. Leon Laskowski hits it up in the air and over the net. Nearly a disastrous mistake there for the Fighting Saints as Laskowski was trying to clear it. Got it off the wrong side of his foot. The ball popped almost straight up. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto jumped to try to make the save, of what would have been an own goal, and it does just barely soar over the crossbar and out of bounds for a corner kick. So here we go for St. Xavier, trying to break the scoreless tie. That ball headed up in the air by Maximilian Fabi and out of bounds. So Fabi misses on the header, and Cotto sets it up for the goal kick. Ball sent down to midfield over the leaping head of Mohamed Rashid. Mike McLaughlin gets his hat on it instead, and St. Xavier on the prowl once again. There's Christian Batangelo stepping in defensively, knocking possession back towards St. Francis. And that ball will go back to Carlos Ferrer Cotto. Under 5 minutes to play before halftime. Here's Stephen Campbell ahead to Mason Messina. Miguel Duran loses possession to Fabi. St. Xavier at midfield. Leskowski tries to take it away on defense, but Aldape takes the ball for St. Xavier, and Aldape loses it to Messina. Mason Messina is immediately tripped up, and a whistle does blow. So a free kick here for the Fighting Saints. Saints and Cougars still dead even in goals scored, in shots, and in shots on goal. That's the way it's been for the majority of this first half. Two teams that have so far been about as evenly matched as possible. And the resumes coming in would indicate that we would see a tight game. It has worked out that way exactly. 2 balls in play. One of them will have to get knocked off towards the side. There it is. Stephen Campbell can throw it in. Off the foot of Yemen, he loses it. Here's Aldape. Off to the sideline. Alex Noyola keeps it in. Noyola ahead for Mike McLaughlin. He's able to control it off the first touch, but it's knocked away from him and out of bounds by Brian Castillo. Here's Kettle. Back on defense to Landa and now Gutierrez. Lopez tries to get it back to Fabi, but instead Mohamed Rashid intercepts. Under 3 minutes to play and a half. This is Christian Batangelo spinning around on Danny Lopez and finding Stephen Campbell. Gutierrez knocks it away. It's a throw in for Campbell. Messina looking for Espinoza. It's off of Espinoza's foot and taken away by St. Xavier. Here comes Mike McLaughlin. Over to Fabi. Good ball to Danny Lopez right down the middle of the field. To the right side, Noyola, and Carlos Ferrer Cotto slides in, picking that ball off the foot of Alex Noyola. Carlos Ferrer Cotto only has 1 save officially in the books, but he's been involved in a lot of different ways today and has been impressive as usual tonight. Here's Lopez. Laskowski takes that ball, and Laskowski along the sideline turns around and finds his keeper. Batangelo back to Campbell. Campbell clears towards midfield. Yemen gets himself in position and taps it to the outside, and Anthony Strip. Saints trying to get a late first half goal. This might be one of their final chances to have an attack, so they want to make the most of this possession. Laskowski sends that ball towards Duran, but it's knocked away. Here's Campbell up from the back line. Campbell again for Duran, intercepted. And Messina jumps in, but he loses the ball. Knocked away by St. Xavier and out of bounds. Just about the final minute now of the first half. Into Yemen. And Yemen loses that ball right off his chest. It deflects out of bounds. So now perhaps St. Xavier will have a chance for one last attack. Doesn't look like it. They lose the ball. Mohamed Rashid Rolls it off to Stephen Campbell. Here's Campbell down the sideline. Campbell centers it to Yemen. Yemen controls it, taps back to Messina, takes the shot, it's deflected wide. Just wide of the net. Good looking shot from Messina, but it was tipped away. And just that slight tip was enough, and now with 30 seconds left, Saints have to work quickly to get this corner kick off. They'd like to take one more shot at scoring the first goal of the game before halftime. The clock continues to run as they retrieve the ball and put it in the corner. Down to 17 seconds now. Laskowski's got it set. And 12 seconds. He's taking his time here. Laskowski down in front of the net. It is shot by Rashid and in! Mohamed Rashid scores with 3.3 seconds on the first half clock, and the St. Francis Fighting Saints strike first. Off the corner kick from Leon Laskowski, Rashid scores his 11th goal of the year, and a big one. Big play right there from Rashid, who just rolls it into the right side, just out of the reach of a diving Frank Valley. And credit to Mason Messina as well. He set that one up with a shot that went out of bounds that led to the corner kick in the first place. St. Xavier takes a midfield shot. All they had was 3 seconds. That's all they really had time to do. And Carlos Ferrer-Cotto falls on it to end the first half. And what an ending to that first half. It was a lot of back and forth play, good defense from both sides for 45 minutes. And then with 3 seconds left, Rashid breaks the scoreless tie with his 11th goal of the year. So we will take a halftime break for about 15 minutes and back with the second half after that, so stick around. It is the CCAC Tournament quarterfinals. St. Francis leads St. Xavier by a goal at halftime. Start of the second half here at ATI Field in Joliet. Fighting Saints of St. Francis have a 1-0 lead on the St. Xavier Cougars with 45 minutes to play. Saints looking for the CCAC quarterfinal victory to move on to the semifinals to take on either St. Ambrose or Cardinal Stritch on Wednesday. And a surprising move at halftime, the Saints have switched goalies. I'm not sure what the story on Carlos Ferrer-Cotto is, but Noah Jaudat is going to be in there for the second half. Jaudat getting his first action in over 2 months. He started one game and allowed just one goal in that one game. So he is certainly capable. He was the primary starter as a freshman last season. He's in net now for the Saints, who scored in the final seconds of the first half to break what had been a 0-0 tie. They got a goal from Mohamed Rashid off a Leon Laskowski corner kick with 3.3 seconds showing on the clock. So here we are in the second half as they look to extend their lead. It's Mason Messina rolling it down the sideline and unable to hook up with Raul Roman. It's knocked out of bounds by St. Xavier. Some first half stats. Saints outshot the Cougars 7-5. 2 shots on goal to 1 for St. Xavier. So both goalkeepers made one save, Carlos Ferrer-Cotto and Frank Valley. 5 fouls called against St. Xavier, 4 against St. Francis. Ricardo Eldape led the way for St. Xavier. He's the one who just rolled that ball forward. Eldape with 3 shots. And Mohamed Rashid led the Saints with 3 shots, one of which, of course, went in. 43-40 on the clock as St. Xavier's called for the foul. Mason Messina gets himself up, and Christian Batangelo sets up the ball to send it away. It's been 6 years since St. Francis has played a conference tournament game. So to get a victory today would be huge for them. Roman has it tackled away from him, sent down towards midfield, and Mike McLaughlin working against Brian Castillo. And the whistle blows. The foul is called against Castillo. Very physical play from both sides right there. And the ball is set up at midfield for the Cougars. It'll be Uriel Landa to take the kick. Into the box. Knocked away initially by the Saints, but recovered by Danny Lopez, working against Stephen Campbell. Lopez's shot towards the net is deflected out of bounds by Campbell. It'll be a corner kick. This will be the 5th corner kick of the game for St. Xavier. St. Francis has 5 as well, and one of them, their most recent one, led to their 1 goal. Ball is set for Orlando Tapia. Ball is sent past the net and all the way down to the sideline. Eldape knocks it out. So the corner kick goes nowhere, hit a little bit too hard by Tapia. Eldape couldn't catch up with it as it soars past everyone and out of bounds. Here's a throw in for Leon Laskowski. 3 minutes into the second half. St. Francis looking for their 10th victory of the season to match their total from 2011. They've had a losing record in each of the 5 seasons since then. Win or lose today, they are guaranteed to finish this season above 500 for the first time since 2011. Here's Mohamed Rashid coming out the back end of the play. Rashid, who has been among the Saints' best player, if not their best player, for his 4 years here, which has spanned 5 years total after he had to sit out 1 season. He's been the star of the team for 4 years. So for him to get a goal here in the conference tournament game is a pretty nice story for the man who's led the way the last couple of seasons. This turnaround has been brought about by a lot of new players, a lot of freshmen, and several transfers here as well, as Noah Jaudat just knocks it out of bounds for a St. Xavier throw-in. But it's cool to see the guy who's still leading the charge as the senior who's been here for over 4 years now. Knocked out of bounds by Brian Castillo. Going up against Mike McLaughlin again. Throw in here will belong to Elias Leyva. Tossed in for Eldape, but Tangelo knocks it off of him. And the flag goes up. A foul is called against Eldape. So free kick here for St. Francis as they're able to get it out of the box. It'll be taken by the freshman, Christian Batangelo. Headed away from Mohamed Rashid by Elliot Kettle. And ball at midfield. Kicked by Leyva over to Danny Lopez. Now on the far side, Michael Gutierrez to Kettle. Miguel Espinoza jumps in the way, and Kelvin Lovu comes flying in to take control of that ball. And Lovu off to Raul Roman. And backwards to Leon Laskowski. At midfield, it's Mason Messina. Kelvin and Lovu knocked to the ground, and the foul is called there on David Robillard. 39.5 minutes to play in the game. Dan Cross trying to pick up a victory today against his alma mater. He played for St. Xavier coach Ed Vucinic, graduating back in 2011. And he picked up the win against his old school on September 23rd. Trying to make it 2-0 against St. Xavier this year with a win today. Another St. Xavier graduate was in the news this week. Luke Gregerson, member of the Houston Astros team that won the World Series. CCAC news from this week, and St. Xavier's trying to make more news here with a win against St. Francis, but it's the Saints on top. Yemen in front of the net. Not able to take the shot there. Good setup. They just couldn't quite finish. St. Xavier on the counter, slowed down. Sent by Guidy down off the head of Elias Leyva. A collision between Rashid and Tapia there. No whistle as the ball is loose on the side, and Tapia is able to come away with it. Down the field towards the center. This is knocked by Aldape into the box and pushed away by Stephen Campbell. There's a shot on Jaudet, and Noah Jaudet makes a nice play. Shot was taken by Danny Lopez, but the whistle came before the shot, so it's not actually going to count as a save for Jaudet. Still a nice play, even coming after the whistle. Good to see a guy who has not had any game action in a while. Came in for the second half here in place of Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. He looks up to the task early on. Ricardo Aldape gets a good talking to. 38 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the second half of today's game. Jaudet ready to kick this ball away as soon as everything is sorted out. It's a cool, rainy day. Drizzling for much of the afternoon prior to our 3 o'clock start time. The rain has stopped, but still uncomfortable down on the field. Good crowd in attendance today. A late arriving crowd. People were waiting till the last possible minute to come on out here because of the unpleasant weather, but still a lot of fans in attendance coming out right around the start of today's game or a little bit afterwards, and they're all bundled up. A lot of blankets and umbrellas out today. Aldape chasing that ball down to the sideline. It goes out of bounds. It's a throw in for St. Xavier. There's Espinoza with a sliding stop, and Castillo clears it down the sideline to Kelvin and Lovu, but Michael Gutierrez takes it from him. Here's Kettle. Down into the corner for Gutierrez. There's the cross, and knocked out of bounds. Ricardo Aldape coming in for that ball was not able to keep it alive. He was the last one to touch it before it went out. So it's a goal kick for St. Francis. Under 38 minutes to play in the game, and the Fighting Saints have the 1-goal lead. goal was scored by Mohammed Rashid, his 11th of the season. The team as a whole has scored 33. He scored exactly a third of those 33 goals. Joshua Yemen's got 9 of them. So the two of them have combined on 20 of the team's 33 goals scored this year. That ball loose, the whistle blows, and the foul is called on St. Francis. Entering play today, 32 goals scored in 17 games, just a shade under 2 per contest. But Saints' claim to fame this year has been their defense. Just 14 goals allowed. This is the 18th game of the year. Rashid sends a nice ball forward to Raul Roman. Roman controls it with the left foot, taps it back to himself, and it's taken away by Tapia. Beautiful ball from Rashid. Roman tried to make something of it, but well defended by Tapia, who knocks it out of bounds. Saints are still in possession, but now the Cougars have a chance to get their entire defense back. Here's Rashid tapping it once, and now sending it towards the backside to Kelvin and Lovu, knocked away by Gutierrez. And the Cougars are able to clear it. St. Xavier throw-in on the far sideline. Rashid takes it away from McLaughlin, but he loses the ball right back to Elliot Kettle. There's Lopez downfield looking for Leyva, but his fellow number 7, Leon Laskowski, heads it away from him. This is Leyva once again. And the whistle blows against St. Francis. So free kick for the Cougars from a little over 40 yards out. Just to the right of the net. Orlando Tapia has figured prominently into the St. Xavier set pieces today. We'll see if he takes this kick. Danny Lopez is back for a potential attack as well, and it is going to be Lopez to take it. Lopez tries to put it on goal, but it sails well over the net and out of bounds. So the free kick for St. Xavier leads to a shot, but no score. And Noah Jaudat will get a goal kick here. Down the middle of the field and off the head of Rashid, pushing it forward toward Kelvin and Lovu, who doesn't get there. Stephen Campbell turns it around off to Rashid at midfield. Moving ahead, it's off the chest of Matt Geiby, and Geiby tries to take it forward for St. Xavier, but his pass is deflected and taken away by Leon Laskowski. Here's Raul Roman. Roman's pass is intercepted by Gutierrez. Saints get possession back. Mohammed Rashid. Rashid is intercepted by Danny Lopez, and Lopez quickly starts the counter. Ricardo Eldape going up against Mason Messina, gets around Messina, rolls it off to McLaughlin, but Tangelo slides in and takes it away. McLaughlin was open. A little bit more juice on that ball from Eldape. He may have had a path to take a shot, but he had to slow down to receive that pass, and that allowed the defense to take it away. And right in front of us now, Danny Lopez hits the ground. A foul is called against St. Francis. And Lopez a little bit slow to get up. He seems to be okay. Just a little bit shaken up on that hit. And right along the sideline here, just in front of the midfield stripe, Cougars will get another free kick. Just over 33 minutes to play in this game. Lopez sends the ball into the box, and Batangelo heads it off to Laskowski. He loses it to Leyva. Leyva's shot deflected right in front of the net. Noah Jaudat dives on top of it. Good work by Jaudat, jumping in on that ball with Elliot Kettle on the attack. The ball was deflected in front of the net. So it was loose right in front of Noah Jaudat. He raced Elliot Kettle for it, just trickling towards the goal. If Kettle had gotten to that ball first, it's a sure goal. But because Jaudat was able to jump on top just in front of Elliot Kettle, he's able to prevent the equalizer, and we remain with a 1-0 score. St. Francis on top with 32.5 minutes to play in this game. Landis sends that ball downfield. It bounces once and off the head of Ricardo Eldape. St. Xavier working ahead from midfield, but Leon Laskowski takes that ball away. Laskowski to Rashid, looking for Raul Roman to his left. He's got him. Roman going up against Gaibi. Waits for Leon Laskowski to pass him, and now cuts towards the inside, and Mohamed Rashid. Rashid, nifty ball work around Kettle. Takes the shot, and Valley makes the stop. Not a whole lot on that shot from Mohamed Rashid, but nice work just to get it off. Just trying to make something happen. The defense was stout the entire way. Laskowski ahead to Rashid. Rashid's pass is intercepted by Gaibi. It's G-E-I-B. Matt Gaibi, freshman from Plainfield, down in the corner. That ball will roll out for a goal kick. Good defense by Christian Batangelo there. Potentially the final home game of the season for St. Francis. It is potentially the final game of the season for both of these teams. For the Fighting Saints, they will get another home game if they win and go up against a lower seed at any point in the tournament from here on out. But as the number 4 seed in the tournament, if the seedings hold, this would be their final one at home. They're more concerned with just getting on to the next round. Where that next game is, not nearly as important to the Fighting Saints right now. Laskowski knocks it out of bounds for a St. Xavier throw-in. Tapia down the sideline. Finds McLaughlin. Tapia towards the center and knocked away by Miguel Espinoza. Espinoza's pass intercepted by Gutierrez, who makes a nice sliding play. Keep that ball away from Espinoza again. Down into the box, McLaughlin has it. McLaughlin tackled from behind by Laskowski, and there's no whistle. Ed Vucinic livid on the St. Xavier sideline. Wanted the penalty kick right there. But Leon Laskowski is able to get that ball away from Mike McLaughlin without drawing the whistle. There is a whistle now, as there's an injured player far away from the play. It's Gutierrez. Michael Gutierrez, I think, may have gotten hurt on the sliding play he made a couple of minutes ago, but as play continued, St. Xavier had a chance at scoring a goal. So his injury went unheeded for a moment, and now finally, as St. Francis is able to clear it, we're able to have a down moment in the game where the referee can stop play and bring the training staff out to have a look at Gutierrez. 29 minutes, 53 seconds showing on the clock, and we do have an injury timeout here. St. Francis is one-goal jeopardy, or one-goal lead, I should say, was in real jeopardy for the first time in this second half just a moment ago. McLaughlin had an apparent clear path towards the net. It was just him against Noah Jawdat. And suddenly Leon Laskowski, who had been beaten initially on the play, did not give up on it. He came back in from behind McLaughlin. He tackled the ball away from him and did so cleanly, according to the officials. No whistle. The entire St. Xavier bench jumped up in protest. Ed Vucinic had his head in his hands, furious that there was no call. That would have been a huge one. With a penalty kick and a chance to tie the score for St. Xavier, but we remain 1-0 now. St. Francis in front, and St. Xavier dealt another blow as one of their star defenders, Michael Gutierrez, limps off the field. And he is walking off under his own strength, which is good news for Ed Vucinic and the Cougars, but the fact that he has a very noticeable limp as he trudges off is not as much of a good sign. We'll see if he's able to continue at some point later in the game. Looks like he is going to head right back into the game as soon as he's able. St. Francis ready to make a substitution as well. Miguel Duran stands at midfield, set to check in. St. Francis by a goal, just under a half hour to play here. Ball is thrown in by Raul Roman, right back to the St. Xavier defense, and Michael Gutierrez will limp back onto the field. The limp diminishing with each step he takes, and immediately thrust back into the action as he kicks that ball off towards the sideline and is fouled by Mohamed Rashid. So free kick from midfield, just off to the right side. This is Orlando Tapia. Tapia sends it off towards the middle of the field where Mason Messina deflects it the other direction. And now Mohamed Rashid. A big kick down to the far sideline. A long run for Kelvin Lovu. He's able to reach it. Let's see if he can find some help now. And Lovu taps it back to Campbell, who fires a bullet well over the net. Campbell had an open look there, decided to take it from long range. And that ball, a good 20 feet or so over the net. So Lovu checks out now, and Miguel Duran comes back in for him. Duran, one of many seniors on the roster for St. Francis, trying to keep their CCAC careers alive for at least a few more days. Tapia deflected by Joshua Yemen out of bounds. Throw in for St. Xavier as soon as that ball is retrieved. Tapia will toss it right into Uriel Landau. Kettle kicks it downfield, and Noah Jaudat will let it bounce once before cradling it to his chest. Noah Jaudat getting his first action in several months here. First time he has appeared in a CCAC game this year. And looking very sharp so far in the second half. Off the pass from Roman, it's Rashid along the sideline. Pulling up, trying to get the ball around Elliot Kettle. Rashid gives it up to Messina. Nice pass to Roman. Roman over his shoulder, trying to get it back to Mason Messina. Matt Guybe will head that ball out of bounds. A throw in from down in the corner for Leon Laskowski. Saints looking to double their lead. Tossed into Rashid. Right back to Laskowski. And now Rashid again. There's the cross off the head of Yemen and saved by Frank Valley. Good ball there to Joshua Yemen. But Valley was right on the spot to play Yemen's header. So no problem in making that save. Here's Duran rolling it to the outside. Stephen Campbell looking across for Rashid. Over Rashid's head, but on the back end, this is Raul Roman. Rashid into the center of the field and headed away by Gutierrez. Stephen Campbell comes in from behind, chips it into the box, and nobody there. That ball will harmlessly roll out of bounds for a goal kick. 1-0 Saints. It was a Mohamed Rashid goal off of a Leon Laskowski corner kick with 3 seconds left in the first half. That's our difference. For Laskowski, the team leading 6th assist of the year. And for Rashid, his team leading 11th goal this season. Laskowski taps it off to Messina. Over to Rashid, and now back to the defensive line, and Brian Castillo. There's a flag, and a handball there against St. Francis. St. Xavier will get going once again immediately. Eldape shoots deflected by Laskowski. Mason Messina was shaken up on the previous play. He was down on the ground as St. Xavier put that ball back in play on the free kick, but now he's up and moving again for a brief moment. St. Xavier did have a virtual one-man advantage. 25.5 minutes to go in today's game. Jaudat punts it across midfield. Here's Campbell headed back. Now Rashid going up against Guybe. Forces it off to Raul Roman. Roman against Tapia. Working his way towards the box. Looking for the cross. Deflected by Tapia and into the hands of Frank Valley. Gutierrez ahead to Elliot Kettle. St. Xavier hasn't been able to get much going towards the net over the last few minutes. Not yet at desperation time. Still a long way to go in this game. But down by a goal for the entire second half up to this point. They're starting to get into a little bit of trouble. Mohammed Rashid works his way down the field, looking to add to the Saints total. Laskowski looking for the cross, deflected away, but it finds the chest of Joshua Yemen. Back to Rashid, who takes the shot. It's just wide. Good look for Mohammed Rashid as he takes his 5th shot of the game. This one goes wide and allows for the goal kick for Frank Valley. He plays it short. The 11th shot taken by St. Francis today. Just one more than St. Xavier. Go back to the first meeting between these two teams. It was a little bit more lopsided statistically in favor of St. Francis, though they did end up winning the game by just 1 goal. In that contest, it was St. Xavier up by 1 at halftime. St. Francis came from behind to take the victory. Victor Valencia is in for St. Xavier. Matt Kolpinski will take a seat. Rashid sticks his foot out and trips Elias Leyva. Free kick here for St. Xavier. Dead center. Just over 40 yards out. So here's an opportunity for the Cougars. Down by 1, but with a free kick. Orlando Tapia has himself set up. Tapia has not scored a goal this year. Ricardo Eldape ready for this one as well. Eldape has scored once. And it's going to be Eldape taking the kick. And Noah Jaudet deflecting it right in front of the net. Jaudet saves it again. 2 saves on 1 play for Noah Jaudet as Eldape put that one on target. Jaudet knocked it down but couldn't make the catch. It was left right in front of the net for Danny Lopez. Lopez fired it right back at Jaudet, who made another save. Great work by Noah Jaudet to keep the shutout alive for the Fighting Saints and maintain their 1-goal lead. Noah Jaudet getting his first action of the conference season in the second half of the CCAC quarterfinal game. Jaudet is a sophomore from not too far away. Went to Manuka High School, and he was the primary starter as a freshman last year. Split time a little bit with Brian Vasquez, who's now on the roster as a senior and has seen action in a couple of games this year. But it was mostly Jaudet's job last season. He gave up a little bit over 2 goals a game. Here's Eldape challenging him again. Eldape taken down in the box by Laskowski, and this time the whistle does blow. And a foul is called, a penalty kick coming up for St. Xavier. 21 minutes, 44 seconds to go, and Jaudet, who made a couple of great saves just a moment ago, is now going to really be challenged as St. Xavier has a chance to even the score up uncontested on a penalty kick. Danny Lopez, whose shot was saved on the last sequence, will once again have an opportunity for his 8th goal this season. Lopez, the reigning CCAC Offensive Player of the Week. Going one-on-one against Noah Jaudet here, looking for the tie. Lopez is set, Jaudet ready, waiting for the whistle. Here's the kick. It's deflected and saved by Jaudet again. Noah Jaudet has made 3 outstanding saves in the last 2 minutes to preserve a 1-goal lead. Now a corner kick for St. Xavier. Going right back at it. This is Eldape. Into the box and headed away by Batangelo. From the back end, a shot from long range. Uriel Landa can't even get it to the box. Now Eldape chips it inside. Headed up in the air by Batangelo again. Mike McLaughlin trying to control this ball, but it's taken away from him. And an injured Saint is down, but play continues for Leyva. He shoots. Jaudet dives and pokes it away again. I'm not sure if he got his hand on it. He did not, so it's going to go out for a goal kick. Let's see who that St. Francis player was who was down a moment ago, but he's up and moving again. Everyone apparently at full strength. So Jaudet made the dive on that one, but no save necessary as it did go wide to the right. But St. Xavier really putting the pressure on right now, looking for the equalizer with just over 20 minutes to play in the game. Another goal would look mighty appetizing for St. Francis here to give themselves a little bit of breathing room, because I'm sure they have really been on the edges of their seats collectively over on the bench. Saints are going to make a substitution. Ivan Serlina is going to come on here. Next chance he gets. St. Xavier, though, is working their way downfield at the moment. It's Leyva to Aldape. On the far side, this is Victor Valencia downfield. Into the box. McLaughlin. Lopez takes the shot. It's wide. Danny Lopez has been all over the place these last few minutes. Two very close calls on shots that were saved from Lopez by Noah Jawdat. And a shot attempt right there that was deflected out of bounds for a corner kick. It's a throw-in for St. Francis from down in the corner, rather. And Messina gets it back in. Here's Lopez. Into the box. Cleared by Batangelo. Out of bounds. This is Gutierrez up into the air and headed away. Rashid gets it downfield. Ivan Serlina, the man on the header just a moment ago, getting his first touch of the game as the offsides flag goes up with Aldape inside the box. He puts that one off the post, but the shot doesn't count. He was offsides. Play continues with a St. Francis free kick. Leon Laskowski, the man who took a seat when Serlina came in, so Laskowski getting a rest. We'll probably see him again. He has been a big factor in today's game. He's got, of course, the assist on the one goal, but has come up big defensively a number of times as well. Probably just getting a quick breather here to get him ready for the stretch run. On the far side, this is Stephen Campbell. Campbell right in front of the net. Joshua Yemen misses high in the shot, but the offsides flag was up. So he's upset with himself that he didn't put that one in, but it wouldn't have counted regardless. Flag was up the entire way. Here's Kettle. Elliot Kettle, deep downfield to Michael Gutierrez. Gutierrez pops that ball up into the waiting arms of Noah Jawdat. Jawdat has had a huge game today. Came in at halftime. First time he's seen game action in several months. He's not only made 4 saves, but he's made some spectacular saves. Most recently, and probably most impressively, a stop on a Danny Lopez penalty kick. If you look at the overall chances in this game, they're very similar. Just in the last few minutes, St. Xavier has moved ahead 16 shots to 11 now. Shots on goal 6-4, but for the most part they've been pretty much even in those categories, and even when they were even, despite the fact that the stats have been close, St. Xavier's chances have generally been a little bit tougher than St. Francis' chances, just that Fighting Saints were able to break through on one big one. Joshua Yemen checks out, Kelvin and Lovu back in with 17 minutes to go in the game. Danny Lopez passes to Orlando Tapia in the center of the field. Now Ricardo Aldape skies it into the box on a hop. Noah Jawdat steps up and picks that ball up before Elliot Kettle can get in on it. Punted away across midfield and off the head of Mohamed Rashid. There's Miguel Duran. No help in the center of the field, easily secured by the St. Xavier defense, and Tapia gives it a big boot. Down to the St. Francis defense where Brian Castillo hits it up into the air, but back to Elias Leyva. Leyva working to get it back from Kettle, but it's intercepted by Miguel Duran. Here's Leyva again. Leyva turns and taps it back to Kettle. St. Xavier at the edge of the box. It's Mike McLaughlin. Back to Kettle once more. McLaughlin sends it high in front of the net. A whistle blows, and it's going to go against St. Xavier this time. So St. Francis will be able to clear this without any consternation. Fighting Saints looking for their 10th victory of the year. The Cougars of St. Xavier already have 10 victories, but St. Francis finished a little bit better, just barely by 1 point better in the conference standings. St. Francis could have withstood one more loss in the conference season as opposed to a tie and still had home field advantage here against St. Xavier because they did beat St. Xavier back in September, so they would have had the tiebreaker anyway, but it never came into play because of the 1 point advantage in the final standings. Messina tosses it in, and Guide knocks it out of bounds. Another St. Francis throw-in coming up. Messina tosses into Rashid. Down in the corner. It's knocked away. Big edge for St. Francis in terms of goal differential this year. They finished the regular season plus 18. St. Xavier just plus 4, but their record's extremely similar. 9-6-2 compared to 10-7, and again, just 1 point separated them in conference play. Raul Roman sends that off the football goalpost and deflects out of bounds. So a goal kick here for St. Xavier, starting to run out of time. Still 14 minutes left, so it's not panic time for the Cougars yet, but they do need to pick up the pace a little bit. And they bring a sub right now, Maximilian Fabi back in. Elias Leyva out. A little extra offensive help with Fabi on the field. Good defense by Miguel Duran. Mohamed Rashid jumps in, wins that battle with Fabi, and now Rashid racing down the field. Rashid has not given it up yet, still in control of the ball. Now finally taps it to the left side, and Raul Roman will keep that ball in bounds and get it right back to Rashid. Nice ball movement there. Rashid takes the shot from long range and misses it high. Beautiful effort there by Mohamed Rashid. And a good ball from Roman as well to get it right back to the senior. Not able to put it in. Still a 1-goal lead for St. Francis. Rashid, the man who did score that goal late in the first half, and I mean late, about as late as you can get. There were 3.3 seconds on the clock when he scored. Castillo knocks it back across midfield, where it is controlled by Uriel Landa. Landa steps up and takes it once again, gives it up to Ricardo Aldape. Off to the far side, Gutierrez on the attack, Campbell on the stop. Stephen Campbell able to clear it there. Rashid trying to control it, and he pushes ahead to Kelvin and Lovu. And Lovu going hard down the sideline, going up against Landa. Looking to cut it back to the middle. Landa takes it away. Nice tackle by Landa. St. Francis still in control of possession, though. This is Rashid. Rashid works it all the way to the back line. Now looking for some help behind him. He'll work that ball out. Pass off to Campbell. And now Campbell gives it up to Serlina coming in from the back line. Rolled off to Mason Messina on the left side. Messina turns, fires towards the middle, and knocked away by Landa. Out of bounds. Throw in for St. Francis. Messina will toss it in. Gets it to Miguel Espinoza, and Espinoza has it knocked off of his foot by Maximilian Fabi. Another throw in here for the Fighting Saints. Just under 11.5 minutes to play in the game. Still a 1-goal lead for St. Francis. Playing their first conference tournament game in 6 years. This is Messina up into the air and knocked away by Kettle. Gutierrez deflected by Batangelo. Gutierrez gets it back. St. Xavier slowly working their way forward. Good ball from McLaughlin to Aldape. Knocked away from him by Batangelo. They get tangled up. No call. There's Fabi coming in from the back end with a shot. And wide to the left, out of bounds. And now a very delayed whistle will go against St. Francis. And a big argument from the Fighting Saints here. The clock will stop as the official talks things over with Mohamed Rashid, who comes in defense of Christian Batangelo. Batangelo and Aldape got tangled up. There was no call as both men hit the ground. And then maybe 10 or so seconds later, after the shot had missed from St. Xavier, wide to the left side and out of bounds, they did decide to whistle Batangelo for the foul. Nick Ramos, the official. 10 minutes, 33 seconds on the clock. St. Xavier's got a free kick. Noah Jaudat has been up to the task on a number of close calls from this range in this second half so far today. We'll see if he can do it again or if the defense can prevent the ball from even getting to him. Tapia and Aldape on either side of the ball. It's been Aldape taking the kicks from this range lately. It'll be Aldape here. And Jaudat makes another diving save out of bounds. It has been a huge half of soccer from Noah Jaudat. He's made great save after great save coming in place of Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. And it's another corner kick now for St. Xavier. Kick comes in, back post, and too far over the head of Mike McLaughlin. Out the sideline, St. Francis clears it once again with a throw-in. Joshua Yemen coming back in for the Fighting Saints. Mason Messina will throw the ball in. St. Xavier makes a substitution as well. Elias Leyva back in. Got a very short rest before re-entering for Victor Valencia. St. Francis player to depart is Raul Roman. Dan Cross has been heated with the official over the last few minutes. Finally, he's forcing him to get back a little bit and having a conversation. 9 minutes, 45 seconds to play in the game. It'll be a throw-in for St. Francis from down in their defensive corner along the near side. Dan Cross not happy with the way this game has been officiated of late. She's having a good heart-to-heart with the head official in today's game before we continue play. Just moments ago, we saw the foul called against St. Francis that led to that free kick. The foul was called against Batangelo that led to a St. Xavier free kick. Dan Cross and the entire St. Francis team unhappy with that call that was made, and it led to a near goal for St. Xavier. And now Cross has been given a yellow card. Second year coaching at St. Francis. It's Dan Cross's first time in the conference tournament as a coach. It has been a very intense game, and he's getting into it with the referee now. And given a yellow card. Play is back underway as Gutierrez sends that ball to the middle of the field. No red shirts there. So an easy clearance for Stephen Campbell. Into the box and picked up at the edge of that box by Frank Valley, who rolls it ahead to Landau. Tapia back to Valley. Valley gives it a big kick downfield. Headed by Serlina, back across the midfield strike. Here's Mohamed Rashid. Rashid works his way to the outside, and now he's got a little free space. Into the box, he takes a shot, and it goes off the side of the net. So Mohamed Rashid stays very aggressive, as he always is. That's his seventh shot taken in today's game. And he's got the Saints one goal as well. Corner kick here for St. Francis. It'll be Stephen Campbell taking it. It's been Leon Laskowski usually, but Laskowski out on the bench for a moment. Deflected back to Ivan Serlina. Serlina pops it up into the air where Valley's able to make the stop right in front of the net. St. Xavier's got just 8 minutes to try to tie this thing up. Kettle to Aldape, and now to the outside. This is Fabi. Middle of the field, Kettle. Kettle knocks it into the box, and Campbell watches it go out of bounds for a goal kick. Winner of this game plays on Wednesday. The opponent to be determined. This is the third of 4 conference tournament games to be played today. Judson and Roosevelt, Calumet, St. Joe's, and Olivet Nazarene will play a little bit earlier this afternoon. Headed by Gutierrez and cleared there by Miguel Duran, out of bounds along the sideline. This is Elliot Kettle working against Ivan Serlina. Serlina knocks it out of bounds. And to the box, it's rolled out once again. 7 minutes to play in the game. Big corner kick for St. Xavier. The only goal scored today came on a corner kick. That was back in the first half. St. Francis took the 1-goal lead. Kick will be taken by Tapia. In front of the net, headed by Aldape, over the net, and out of bounds. Another corner kick coming from the exact same spot if that one was deflected by St. Francis. There's the kick, knocked away and cleared. Back into the box, Jaudet will come out and let that ball bounce out. It's going to be a goal kick. Both of the other quarterfinal games from today were overtime affairs. Roosevelt and Olivet, the 2 higher seeds, both came out victorious. This one still has the potential of overtime as well. St. Xavier's got 6 minutes left to tie it up. McLaughlin trying right now. It's poked away from him. Here's Landa. Downfield, headed away by Batangelo, but right back to Aldape. He takes the shot. It's just high. Well, credit to St. Xavier for keeping the pressure on here. The way that this game is going, Cougars may run out of time, but they have certainly made St. Francis sweat for it. But the Fighting Saints defense and goalkeeping have been sensational today. And in particular, the efforts of Noah Jaudet, who came in cold off the bench at halftime. Hadn't appeared in a game in a couple of months, and he's made great save after great save to keep this 1-goal lead going. Saints in a defensive mindset right now. They'd love to get another goal and double the lead and perhaps put this thing away once and for all, but they're more concerned at this stage of the game with keeping St. Xavier out. So far, they've been able to do so. They're in possession of the ball right now, though. It's Mohamed Rashid. Rashid passes it back to Serlina. Now to the left side, Joshua Yemen. Yemen has it taken away. Good challenge by Tapia. Here's Aldape along the near side. Aldape going against Serlina. Pass deflected by Messina. Out to the right side. This is Elias Leyva trying to weave that ball through. Deflected and cleared by Batangelo. Leyva gets it by one defender, but Messina is able to clear that ball out of harm's way. Fabi heads it forward to Tapia, but taken away by the Fighting Saints. And now they're able to get the ball downfield. Duran to Espinoza in the corner. Espinoza crosses Yemen there, looking for the header, but Valley knocks it away. Under 4 minutes to play in the game. It is out of bounds. Tapia makes the slide trying to save it. He can't do so, meaning it's going to be a St. Francis throw-in. Clock stops at 3:41. Saints will make a substitution here. Yemen comes out, and Santillo comes in. So a little extra defensive help for St. Francis. Mohamed Rashid will move up into the striker position, but again, they just want to get an extra defender in there right now. St. Francis had a good attack right there. They weren't able to get the goal, but they took about 30 seconds off the clock just working the ball downfield, and now they can do some more damage as Nlovu trips in the box. Calvin Nlovu had a chance to put the game away. Out of bounds for a St. Xavier throw. Along the sideline, headed up in the air by Duran and out of bounds. Fabi to the left side. That's Landa. Headed into the box, knocked up into the air by Serlina. St. Xavier remains on the attack, but it's cleared by Santillo. There's Valley, kicking it high in the air, down along the near side. Tapped back to Fabi. At midfield, kicks it towards the center of the pitch, near the box, headed away by Vitangelo. Saints working to clear it once again here. Santillo. And Espinoza downfield for Nlovu. 2.5 minutes remaining. This is Calvin Nlovu going up against Matt Guyby. Guyby trying to poke the ball out from between his legs. He does, and it goes out of bounds. St. Francis will get the throw in. And they are taking their time as Miguel Duran grabs a new ball and trots up to the spot where he can throw it in. At this point in the game, St. Xavier doesn't want to see the ball lost out of bounds. These throw-ins take 20 seconds off the clock each time. Knocked away out of bounds. And that was last touched by St. Xavier. So another ball out of bounds to St. Francis. And again, they'll kill a little bit of time and then they'll get the corner kick. They will not bring any help down offensively for the corner kick. Again, they're a lot less concerned with scoring another goal than they are about playing defense and keeping St. Xavier off the board. So no offensive help. They're just going to eat some more clock here. Clock stopped at 1:32. And now we're ready for the corner kick. Nlovu taps it to Rashid. And now Rashid makes a burst towards the middle of the field. Works his way out. Trying to turn himself around and get a shot here. He ends up losing the ball. Cleared by Elliot Kettle. And here come the Cougars. It's McLaughlin. Downfield, but Tangelo on defense. And he's able to clear it into the bleachers for a St. Xavier throw-in. They'll toss it back very quickly. Obviously, divergent styles of play here on throw-ins. And the ball sent in front of the net. An easy stop for Noah Jaudat, who fouls on top of the ball. A minute to play in the game. And Noah Jaudat will eat some more seconds. Jaudat punts it down across midfield. St. Xavier will need to get the ball back here in order to have one last chance as Calvin Nlovu kicks it once and gets it by the defender. Now Nlovu working his way towards the box. Taken away by Uriel Landa, but the clock down to 36 seconds now, and Nlovu's still fighting for it. It's out of bounds, and last touched by St. Francis. So the Cougars get the throw in, and they get one last chance to work their way downfield. Frank Valley will become a full offensive member of the team. He passes off to Aldape along the near side. Aldape down into the box. It bounces once. It goes out of bounds, and that should do it. 14 seconds left. The Saints will be in no hurry to get this goal kick off. Clock down under 10 seconds, and they're not even going to take the kick. And now they will have to. The clock is stopped at 2.8 seconds as St. Francis was clearly stalling there. The official finally blows the whistle and says, all right, you got to get rid of the ball, but with 2.8 left, there's not going to be enough time here for St. Xavier. put a little bit of time left on the clock. They'll reset it to 10 seconds. So Jaudet will have to get the goal kick off here, and St. Xavier will have to make a very quick attack downfield. Jaudet along the sideline and out of bounds. Aldape will toss it back in, and this game will come to an end. St. Francis victorious, 1-0. They defeat St. Xavier and move on to the CCAC semifinals with a very exciting victory today, knocking off the conference rivals, the 5th-seeded Cougars of St. Xavier, their second one-goal win against St. Xavier this year. And the one goal came in the final seconds of the first half. Leon Laskowski sent a corner kick in front of the net. Mohamed Rashid came in and bounced it into the back right side to make it 1-0 with 3.3 seconds remaining on the clock. That goal held the entire way, and the story of the second half was the great work of Noah Jaudet, the backup goalie who came in, got his first action of the entire conference season here in the quarterfinal match. And he had some great saves, a couple on some free kicks, and then most notably stopping a Danny Lopez penalty kick that looked like it was about to tie the score. Jaudet ended up with 5 saves in the second half, and 2 or 3 of them highlight reel stops. A huge game for Jaudet. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto played well in net in the first half as well. The 2 of them combined on the shutout. Our final totals from today: St. Xavier 18 shots to St. Francis's 15, 7 shots on goal to 5 for St. Francis. And a lot of those opportunities for St. Xavier came late in the game after St. Francis had pulled their offense back and played a much more defensive style game. So even though St. Xavier has the edge in some of those, it was really a very evenly matched game. St. Francis finished with 11 fouls, 9 fouls for St. Xavier. Ricardo Aldape had 8 shots today. Danny Lopez 6 to lead the way for the Cougars. Mohamed Rashid 7 led the way for St. Francis. And of course, Rashid scored the 1 goal, his 11th, off of an assist from Laskowski, his 6th. With the win, St. Francis picks up their 10th victory of the year. It's their first 10-win season since 2011. They improved to 10-6-2. St. Xavier's season comes to a close at 10-8. Great win for the team, for the program here today, as Dan Cross, in his 2nd season as head man of the soccer team here, picks up his first career conference tournament victory. The Saints will move on to play on Wednesday, and whether or not that will be a home game or at Cardinal Stritch is still to be determined. Cardinal Stritch, the number 1 seed in the tournament, and you would expect Cardinal Stritch, if they can beat St. Ambrose today, as they did in the regular season, 2-0. If they beat St. Ambrose, that's where the Saints will be playing on Wednesday. That would be the more likely scenario, but St. Ambrose still potentially could pull the upset as well. So stay posted by going to GoFightingSaints.com between now and Wednesday and find out the particulars of that game. But that's going to do it for our broadcast today. Potentially for the last time at home this year, St. Francis pulls off the huge win against St. Xavier. They win 1-0 and move on to the conference semifinals. Until next time, this is Terry Valadana signing off for the University of St. Francis. Have a good evening.